When it comes to sidearms, nothing beats the classic. Am I right? From its rapid-fire shooting to alternate 3-bullet burst, its versatility is truly unparalleled. And, did I mention that it's a free gun, by the way? Indeed, Tins. The classic is a truly busted free gun. Puns aside though, the best times to use the classic's right-click is whenever you're in close proximity to the enemy, doing jump shots, or when you're running and gunning or trying to do a few fadeaway shots to the enemy while seeking cover. If you have info that the enemy's low, you can always take your chances with the right-click's RNG tech to deal the finishing blow. Now, with the free gun out of the way, let's continue the rest of the list as I give you one tip you need to know for every gun in Valorant. Now, before we go any further into this, if you feel like you've been struggling in ranked recently, then we have got a huge treat for you. Over at SkillCapped, we have recently published a brand new Calm Aim course that details how any one of you could develop Radiant level aim in just a few weeks. Now, while most players just aim in whatever way feels comfortable to them, it might surprise you to hear that there is actually a proper aiming technique that pros use to not only make themselves a little bit more consistent, but to also help them get more kills like this. Now, in our course, we're going to teach you this proper technique, and we're also going to even provide you with an aim training routine that you can use to instantly start improving your aim and climbing today. Unlike other routines, this is a simple, less than 15-minute exercise that you can do before you play that will do wonders for your aim. Not only that, but our site is literally backed by a rank improvement guarantee. So if you don't climb, you don't pay. If you're really looking to climb this act and you want to actually start fragging out in your matches, do be sure to check out our new Calm Aim course using the link below. The Shorty is the only shotgun in Valorant sidearms, and if you hadn't noticed, it's pretty common to pick this as your secondary whenever you're using sniper guns. Since snipers are weak in close fights, having a Shorty in hand helps you even the playing field a little bit more. And with that in mind, say you're in that exact situation where you're playing a sniper and have a Shorty in hand. The Shorty is actually useful for destroying Cypher's camera, especially if you have an idea of where it is but can't pinpoint its exact spot. The Shorty spread is fairly decent, and since the cam only has 1 HP, it's bound to get destroyed. If you haven't revealed your trump card yet, doing this tech will also mask the fact that you have an op in hand. I believe that the Frenzy is an underrated sidearm, I'm being honest here, and I've been dependent on this gun in my early days in Valorant. Being the only fully automatic sidearm in the game, Frenzy is undoubtedly the best sidearm to use for run-and-gun tactics. Now, of course, this would mean that you should do your best to play close to mid-range, but this will be a huge pain to deal with since you're going to be hard to track, especially if your enemies are using ghosts and sheriffs. And speaking of ghosts, this sidearm is an absolute beast at treading the balance between rapid fire and accuracy. However, it's that rapid accuracy that often causes the downfall of Ghost users. So if you don't want to be a victim of its inaccuracy due to recoil, stop spamming your Ghost shots. Give each shot a half or a full second interval, all while strafing to reset its recoil. Not only is that going to help you be more accurate with the Ghost, but it's also going to make you a lot more of a difficult target to hit. Now for the top dog of sidearms and eco rounds, we have the old reliable Sheriff. This gun truly is one of a kind, as it can best even fully armored enemies with a single blow to the head in most ranges. Now, if the enemy is too far, the most it'll deal even with a headshot is 145, which isn't too bad at all. Now, to maximize the Sheriff's capabilities, it's really a no-brainer to always aim for the head, and this applies to any gun. However, if you're fighting long range and you've already dinked the enemy, your next shot can be aimed at their body, as it'll already be a guaranteed kill. No need to worry about your average headshot percentage, just go straight for the kill. So moving on to the more beefy guns, we're going to start with a hit or miss Stinger. And the reason I say hit or miss is because half of the Valorant population loves it, especially on eco, while the other half absolutely dreads it due to its uncontrollable recoil. Now, the thing about Stingers is that you have to avoid long-range duels with this gun as much as possible. But if you got no choice and you need to take that fight, try to pre-aim the enemy's location, then peek, then shoot, and hide behind cover. Rinse and repeat this until you've lowered their cover before you actually commit to the duel. Otherwise, just stick to playing close or closing the gap to increase your chances of winning. So if you've been playing Valorant long enough to witness its glory, then you probably already know why it's the king of run-and guns. It's almost like Riot intentionally built this gun to have minimal penalties for moving while shooting, which literally goes against the game's mechanics on movement error. Now, this is the exact reason why you should be capitalizing on moving around while shooting the Spectre, especially when fighting mid to close range. But of course, you must also track your enemy's head in the process to increase your odds of getting a few headshots. And when you do get those kills, be prepared for some mauling in the all chat as your enemies get frustrated with your annoying run and gun tactics. Headed over to the best weapons for close range, we have the Bucky. And for all my Temet fans out there, you know exactly how broken this gun is on agents like Neon. If you've noticed in the clip, you're going to see how Temet reloads after a Bucky shot or two, and this is because there's no better gun to utilize this tactic on than with a Bucky. Reloading in between shots gives you almost unlimited bullet counts, so long as you stay a moving target and keep shooting in intervals. Apart from staying in constant movement, Bucky also does wonders despite being mid-air, so try to be as unpredictable as you can with your movement. Next up is Judge, which is supposedly the better version of Bucky with more bullet counts and increased fire rate. However, I believe it boils down to preference and your playstyle, so don't let that misconception limit you, just play with what you like. And at this point, it should already be common sense that shotguns are made for close range fights. Am I right? So instead of a tip on how to use the Judge, we all know that, I'm just going to tell you when to use the Judge. The spread of a Judge shot is wider than that of a Bucky or a Shorty, and as such, you'd be surprised how this can eat away at your opponent's health quickly, even at mid-range, as long as you keep hitting them. When you start to notice that you're having a bad game because you're whiffing a lot and you just start hitting your shots, grab yourself a Judge and start shifting your playstyle. It's almost foolproof and it's pretty easy to use. I guarantee you're going to find a lot more kills if you play in the right spots. Now, while the Marshal might be the cheapest sniper option available in the game, that doesn't mean it's also the worst. In fact, the absolutely unique tech about the Marshal that you can abuse is how accurate it is despite not being scoped. So if you ever find yourself in situations where there's an enemy close by and you have a Marshal, don't fret, my friend. Keep calm, aim your crosshair, and fire off that no-scope as you would with a regular gun. Its insane damage could still be enough to pick the enemy off, especially if they have no armor. Ever since the Outlaw's release, it has become a dominating presence throughout Valorant and anti-eco situations. You can practically use it as the cheaper but still equally effective op. So if you find yourself being able to snowball rounds in your team's economy, you can consider getting an Outlaw instead of a rifle, especially when the enemy team can't afford a full buy. The moment they don't invest in full armor, you're going to be guaranteed to get a bunch of free kills by simply aiming for the body. And of course, we can never forget the almighty Operator. Now, this weapon takes the cake on being the most expensive weapon in the game, and for a good reason, and we all know what that reason is. After all, it is a one-shot, one-kill weapon almost every single time. The key factor in taking advantage of the op, though, during matches, surprisingly, isn't the amount of kills you can get with it, but your menacing presence and your positioning when you have that gun. For instance, if you have a Cypher or Killjoy anchoring B, you can easily force the enemy team to push that site if you've got a good hold on A with an op. Even better, if you get the first pick, the enemy team is likely to rotate and try a different area unless they want to audition for your op's next victim. Ares, aka the budget Odin, generally isn't a popular pick, but that doesn't mean it's a terrible gun. If you're the type who hasn't outgrown their spraying tendencies, Ares is actually the easiest gun to use for spraying down enemies. And on top of that, you can practice your recoil control better if you keep using this gun, whether for direct duels or spamming wallbangs. And for my Rambo buddies out there, no one can deny how satisfying the Odin is, especially when you get to mow the enemy team down through walls and smokes. It is no surprise why this gun is the best friend of agents like Sova, Cypher, and Fade. The best tip I can give you for using the Odin is to abuse its ADS feature for that much needed increase in fire rate and accuracy. This gun shines best when you're stationary and spamming away, but if you absolutely must move around with it, try to still stick with the ADS. Without it, the Odin spray becomes harder to control and it'll often miss its target, so do try to avoid it as much as you can. Alright, on to the cheapest rifle and number one go-to after winning pistol. We have the Bulldog. This gun provides a great balance between spraying and pinpoint accuracy, which makes it viable for really any range. Now, while it's pretty common knowledge to use its burst fire tech in long ranges, what we're going to be focusing on is its damage. If you've already managed to hit one bullet in the head, you can resort to firing away at the enemy's body, similar to using sheriffs at long distances. The main difference is that you can hit the enemy's body easier while spraying with a Bulldog. At any range, it deals 115 to the head and 35 to the body. If you do the math, all it takes is one bullet to the head and another bullet to the body to secure a kill. The Guardian is basically an improved version of the Sheriff with improved range, fire rate, and bullet count. And if you're wanting to hop on a deathmatch off, Guardian and Sheriff are the best guns to practice for hitting your headshots. Now, the best tip I can give you for using the Guardian is to keep fighting at long ranges. Being the most accurate gun in the game, the Guardian has a better chance of picking off enemies, especially when you take your time at aiming each shot you take. Now, regardless if you're up against a Vandal, you're going to be on the same playing field if you're fighting long range because the Vandal is weak at spraying far distances. So in the end, it's mainly going to boil down to who hits the headshot first. Some might argue that the Phantom is the better rifle, while others would place their money on the Vandal. While both guns are definitely great at what they do, the clear difference really lies in your purpose and your playstyle. Phantom is the better gun when it comes to spamming smokes and taking mid to close range fights, and this is mainly because it has no bullet tracers and it has a better fire rate. If you're a controller main and you find yourself spamming through smokes or taking mid-range duels a lot, I'd recommend sticking with the Phantom. On the other hand, the Vandal will always have a place in our hearts due to how crispy it sounds and feels whenever we hit that one tap. And it's that exact reason why it's so good at long-range duels. All it takes is one bullet to the head at any range, and your team is already as good as gone. If you want to use the Vandal effectively, you'd want to limit your shots to around 1 to 3 bullets before strafing or seeking cover and resetting. This is a good habit to develop because spraying with the Vandal can be very punishing. So if you want to live longer and hit your crispy headshots more, fire at small bullet intervals, reposition, and reset.
All right, though, guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little bit more about SkillCapped. So we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and we think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's kind of like a gym membership guaranteeing you that you're gonna get ripped. Your local gym probably go bust if they offered you that. But not us, because we've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium Valorant guides on the internet. We add new courses every month with over 1,000 guides curated into over 50 courses. No one can compare. We also have a direct line of communication with subscribers in our Discord so that you can get connected immediately to some of the best players in the game who will respond to every question you ask. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you're serious about improving your game. So that's going to be all for this one today, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.